Welcome to the Ox Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Big Book, aka Ox. Do me a favor, before we get started, hit that like button for me, hit that subscribe button, or hit that notification bell so you'll be notified anytime I drop any new content. Man, the Dallas Cowboys against the Detroit Lions. You know, Dallas fans, that fan base is one of the fan bases that really irritate me. As you may know, Dallas fans, they're abroad everywhere. There are a lot of Dallas Cowboy fans at the place where I work. And after that game last year, the only thing I heard was, what was the final score? What did the scoreboard say? What did the refs call? That's all I heard. Everybody knows what happened in that game last year. Dan Skipper went out, reported, we ran the play, we got the 2-point conversion, took the lead. We were going to win the game. They drop a flag, they say he didn't report, when clearly when you watch the replay, you saw everything that happened. Everything transpired the way it was supposed to on the Lions side. And then everything just magically got taken away. So I really wanted to see the Lions and the Cowboys in the playoffs in Dallas. But as Cowboys do, couldn't hold up their end of the bargain, and they got mollywopped by Green Bay. So we ended up playing somebody else. Sunday was great. They were absolutely clowning Dallas. Clowning. If you can be disrespectful without saying you're being disrespectful, the Detroit Lions were being disrespectful. They were basically they were saying, we can do anything we want to do. We're going to run practice plays because we have no fear that you can do anything with the football. And we have no fear that you can stop us. The score was 47-9. Easily, Detroit could have put up 60 points. But looks like they were trying to get an offensive lineman a score. So they kind of wasted some opportunities to really lay the hammer down. I really wanted that 50 spot. I really wish they would have kicked that field goal instead of going for it on 4th down. I really wanted that 50. But I was so happy because these Dallas fans, man, they're beside themselves. And they finally got put in their place. And I'm glad that Detroit was the team that did it. Gave Jerry Jones a happy birthday present he'll never forget. His worst home loss since he's owned the Dallas Cowboys. Boy, if I had a happy birthday song right now, I'd play it behind me while I was telling y'all how happy I am right now. I mean, it was great. We did whatever we wanted. That's what the Detroit Lions offense can look like when we are humming. We are the best offensive team in football. We have the best running backs. We have one of the best duos at wide receivers with our 1 and 2 and Brown and Williams. And to me, Sam Laporta is the best tight end in the game. Travis is taking a step back. Kittle had a good game a couple weeks ago. He's taking a step back. I believe Sam Laporta is the best tight end in football. And Jared Goff is a top 10 quarterback. So we have weapons galore. We have a great offensive line. Tried to get Penei Sewell a touchdown. Man, it was just great. It was just great. Listen, offensively, Jared Goff threw for 300 yards, 315. David Montgomery had 80 yards rushing and two touchdowns for David Montgomery. Jahmyr Gibbs, 12 carries for 63 yards. But the passing game, man, look, Jared Goff and these wide receivers are clicking right now. They are clicking. Jamison Williams, 3 receptions for 76 yards. Burn Diggs, bad, had a touchdown. Khalif Raymond, 4 for 73. Tim Patrick, 3 for 68. Laporta had the one off the trick play. The one catch for 52 yards and the touchdown. St. Brown had the touchdown, 4 receptions for 37 yards. And Gibbs out the backfield, he had 3 receptions for 28 yards. The offense is absolutely clicking. And I don't believe it's going to stop anytime soon. I really don't. You know, it took a minute because, like I said before, the starters didn't play at all, really, in the preseason. And it just took a minute for everything to come together and click the way it was supposed to, you know. And it finally did. And it is humming. It's the second game in a row that we've had over 40 points. And I believe this week against Minnesota, we're going to put up a high number also. We are. Now, in all this elation, there was disappointment. Man, Hutchinson's injury is critical, man. That was so crucial. It's like we can't catch a break, man. It is like I don't want to say cursed. I don't want to say that. It just seems like we can't have everything. Everything can't go right for us. It's like something has to try to hinder us, man. And the injury is a freak accident. He's coming around the edge and he gets to Dak and he grabs Dak and he's swinging him down. And as he's swinging Dak, he's swinging his leg and his leg hits one of our players. And man, it just snaps right at the bone. And it was heartbreaking because I believe Hutch, man, was in a good position to win Defensive Player of the Year. And he was at that mark to where he was making strides his first couple years, and it was like he was coming into his own, you know, to where you're talking about Myles Garrett and T.J. Watt, and you're talking about all these other defensive ends that have made a name for themselves. You were about to start saying Aiden Hutchinson was an elite defensive end in this game. And he will get there. I believe, you know, he will make a full recovery. But it's heartbreaking, man. It is. You know, it seems like with every victory, man, we just get, you know, knocked back down a peg. And it sucks. It really does. But on the defensive end, the defense played great. Only gave up 9 points. Brian Branch, I believe he had two interceptions. And, you know, we just did what we needed to do. Actually, we had five turnovers from Dallas. 5. So the defense played out of their mind, man. It was just great to see the team actually put a full game together. Because so many times we got a half, or we got a quarter, or we got the offense this game, and then we got no offense, but then the defense stepped up. Finally, everything got put together as a whole. And we are seeing what the Detroit Lions can be. Now, I believe we have to make some kind of move. We got to. Crosby, you know, he's a homegrown kid out there in Vegas. And it's hard because Detroit has drafted so well with their picks. The draft is the reason why Detroit is as good as they are. It is through the draft we've acquired all this talent. So maybe to have to give up a first and a second for Max Crosby, man, that's rough. But you also don't have years to where you're one of the favorites for the Super Bowl. And Detroit, this year is Detroit's year. And it could be the start of a dynasty, but you don't know that. What you know is now. What you know is this year is your year. They have to make a move. If you have to give away a first and a second, then that's what you got to do. If you got to give up a first this year and a first next year, and maybe get Max Crosby and a third in return, then that's what you do. Earlier, Amari Cooper got sent to the Bills. So it looks like Cleveland is just starting over. Myles Garrett is right there. Myles Garrett is there. You got to make these phone calls. You got to see. You got to at least talk to these GMs, and you got to see what they want. I understand they know that we need somebody. So they may play hardball a little bit. But it's worth it if we get that Super Bowl. There's been teams to make the Super Bowl and not even sniff the playoffs the next year. That's the way the NFL is, man. And even though Detroit looks like they have years of success lined up, we don't know. As you can see with Aiden, we are one or two injuries. Anybody, they are one or two injuries away from not even being in contention. Aiden was one of the two people we absolutely, to me, could not lose to be a Super Bowl favorite. Him and Jared Goff. Now, the defense has gotten tremendously better from what they were last year. Tremendously. We still have our problems in the secondary. And without Aiden, we do not put enough pressure on the quarterback. Aiden has more pressures. If he doesn't have more, he is close to having more than the rest of the team for pressures. I believe sacks. Aiden has 7.5, and I believe our team has 7.5. Aiden is so, he is such a big, integral piece on that defensive front. And we have to get something close to that. We have to. We cannot let this year go to waste. So I'm trusting the Lions organization. I'm believing this is not SOL. Same old Lions. I believe something will get done. Do not sit here and say, next man up, we're going to use who we have on the roster. No, don't do that. Do not do that. Not this time. Go get somebody. Fill in for Hutch. And let's keep rolling along, man. Let's keep rolling along. Because what we saw Sunday, man, that was beautiful. That was absolutely beautiful. And I don't think there's too many teams that can stop it. Minnesota will be, first of all, that's a divisional game. So the game is going to be tough anyway. But I don't see Minnesota going in there and stopping us. I don't see that. But we got to stop them. They're going to see how formidable we are up front this week without Hutch. And I hope it's not to the detriment of us losing. Because there won't be a lot of pressure unless we blitz. And now we're blitzing. Now the secondary becomes more vulnerable. And, it takes us away from what we do. So I hope, I know Aaron Glenn's going to come up with something. But really the only thing you can do is bring more people. Which, if we don't get home, leaves our secondary vulnerable. There's already a lot of penalties right now in our secondary, it's like if we're not picking the ball off, we're committing either a holding or a pass interference play. So hopefully the Lions do the right thing. You got to replace Hutch. And just look at it like this. You replace Hutch, we go win the Super Bowl, or we go to the Super Bowl. Hutch comes back next year. Now you got Hutch, and then you got whoever we got on the other side. And even an even more dominating front four. So even in the long run, it's a great pickup. It's a great move. So, like I said, man, just was very happy about the offensive output. Over 500 yards, I believe. Man, the passing game was clicking so well. I believe they had 180 yards after the catch. After the catch. The wide receivers, after the catch, 180 yards. That's when you know you're clicking. You're throwing in rhythm. You're scheming to where everything is working the way it should. And then you got David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs running the heck out the ball. Montgomery, doggone it, if he ain't running hard right now, it's like you need more than one person to bring that man down. I love the way Montgomery he's running right now, and I'm glad they extended him. I was happy to hear that. So, I want everything just to keep going the way that it's going, man. I love the momentum. This ride is great. I want this to be the start of something awesome. I want this to be a dynasty. But you can't take these years for granted. And I believe if we just sit on our hands and say, next man up, we'll just use James Houston or whoever they're thinking about, you're wasting this year. Because I don't believe we can win the Super Bowl without Hutchinson. I don't believe we can get there without Hutchinson because the rest of the defensive front does not put enough pressure on the quarterback. So if he has all day to pass, I don't care if you got Deion Sanders out there on one side and Charles Woodson on the other, and Ronnie Lott at safety with Palomalu. People are going to get open if they have all day to pass the ball. Plain and simple. You've got to get pressure up front. And without Hutchinson, we don't get any. We don't get none. So that move has to be made. And I'm hoping to hear something within the next couple of days. Supposedly, the rumors are they want to look at Max Crosby, supposedly. But like I said, with Cleveland making a move to send Amari Cooper to Buffalo, that lets me know that they're just unloading people. So you make that call about Myles Garrett. And if they need a one and they need another one, then you give both of them up. Because you can't play with this year. Because you know what you don't have in the draft? You know what you don't have? You don't have Myles Garrett in the draft. You don't have a Myles Garrett in the draft. You don't have a Max Crosby in the draft. You might have somebody that could turn out to be them 3, 4, 5 years down the road, but you don't have those players in the draft right now. That's what we need. That's what we need. So 47-9, hey, I can't complain too much. Really, everything. If Aiden Hutchinson didn't get hurt, there wouldn't be a negative thing to say about this game right here. Not one. Because I love the fact that they were literally playing around with Dallas. They were literally trying to embarrass them. If anybody knows football, you know by the things that the Detroit Lions were doing, they were disrespecting the Dallas Cowboys. And that was absolutely fine with me. Because of everything that happened last year and how the Cowboys fans reacted and how the Cowboys reacted. I believe if we'd have got them in the playoffs, they'd have got this whooping last year in the playoffs. Like I said, happy birthday, Jerry Jones. I hope you got your slice of cake, and I hope you got your ice cream, and I hope you had a time after the game, because you sure didn't have one during it. It looked like a funeral. You guys gave up. Be an owner. You're not a GM. You're the man who said you didn't have enough money to pay Derrick Henry $9 million a year. If you'd have gave Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb those same deals you ended up giving them before the season started, instead of playing around, you'd have had $20 million left. You'd have had money for Derrick Henry. But you want to do things your way. You think your way is the best way. It's not. You're not a GM. You're an owner. And I'm glad you got your wake-up call. I am ecstatic. It was the Detroit Lions. What up, though? Hey, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. So you'll be notified, like I said, anytime I drop anything new. But until then, you guys have a great day. You guys have a great night. And God bless.